All right. I just turned this off. Hold on, let me turn it back on. Or it fell asleep. All right. I'm going to see if that'll work. Okay. Well, we're talking about The Flash. All right, The Flash. Jacob, what you think about it?
It's okay. It's okay. It's kind of good.
Was it worth all the rigmarole?
I don't know what you mean at all. Because you chose not to use an English word, I have no idea what you wanted me to.
So The Flash with Ezra Miller was delayed for many years because of the things going on with DC and trying to shift things around and all this stuff. And somehow, for some reason, they thought playing it now would be a good time as any. I don't know. Was it worth the wait all the time?
I wasn't waiting.
You weren't waiting.
So I can't say.
You didn't care. I didn't care to see it full price, basically. That was my whole thing. I didn't want to see it full price. And we finally saw it. I feel like I don't know where to begin with.
It's one of the only is it DCEU? Who knows? It's one of the only DCEU movies trying to have fun, so it gets points for that. A lot of points for that.
Yeah, it has
for
lots of fun.
Trying to be a fun movie to watch. As we said about Shazam, it was like, yeah, like your only time you're trying to be fun here and heartfelt was Shazam, and now Flash has some of both of that, and it's like, thank you.
Also, Aquaman is fun.
The movie?
Yeah.
I don't remember it very well.
Me and Chico watched it on the old projector, and I had it covered in the whole wall. That movie is actually a lot of fun. It's not that great. Like, as a whole movie, it's not that great. But there are whole section scenes that are like, whoa, this is pretty good. But, yeah, so The Flash was fun. Ezra Miller was great as Barry Allen. But also Ezra Miller's never going to work again. So...
And this is spoilery, fine?
Yeah, spoilers, fine. Yeah, it's a spoiler.
Yeah, Ezra Miller was pretty good. I didn't think there was anything, like, super standout. Like, there wasn't, like, a scene where it's like, oh, my God.
No.
But generally speaking, yeah, good acting.
And having to do two roles at once is never easy. Trying to act with yourself is hard. That's all I can really say about Ezra Miller's performance.
It's weird because the second Barry is supposed to be annoying and is only just a little too much to me.
Just the right amount of too much for me.
Real life Ezra Miller was that character. And it was a little too far.
Yeah, I didn't like... Well, so for some people, the young Barry was an issue. They were like, I don't give a flip. But there was a point, again, spoilers, there's a point when young Barry finally got stabbed at the end. I gasped, and I was like, no!
Yeah.
Because I didn't want him to die.
Yeah, once you no longer had everything resting on young Barry's shoulders, because Barry got his powers back, that's when it was like, okay, now you're a fun sidekick.
Yeah, exactly. Now you're a fun sidekick. When everything's like, you're not taking this enough seriously, and you're not willing to do anything.
And because you'd already had the scene where they both finally had a heart-to-heart.
Yeah.
And because young Barry made his own costume, and it was like, okay, fun sidekick. Now we're good.
Yes. I like that. I like that older Barry. Because, like, complaints from the Justice League, both versions, is that Barry's annoying. And especially he talks too fast. About nothing. He'll say 1,000 words about, like, what's brunch? Shut the fudge up, Barry. And then there's, like, one shot when young Barry says something along those lines. It's something so, like, benign, stupid, and fast and stupid.
Barry's like, slow down.
But he's like, he just has his hands on his face, and he's just you can see the pink in his eyelids, and he's just, like, excruciatingly annoyed. It's like, it's weird, because it's like, you're seeing him, like, it's like a genuine face of, I'm annoyed with this person. But also...
Like, this is what people have been talking about.
But, exactly, literally. It's like, now I get to see what I've been doing to people for all this time. And I also think that, because of that, it makes current Barry less annoying.
Yeah, current Barry is generally more serious.
Yeah, he's more mature.
And genuine.
Yeah.
Rather than being, like, written to be ironic in any way. Most of the time, at least. So, yeah. So yeah, having young Barry there makes older Barry better.
Yeah. But now that makes me wonder if I don't know if older Barry if it's just old Barry the whole time. Do you think he could have been annoying? Maybe a little.
I don't know. Maybe the writers would have been like, we need to have an outlet. Okay, we either have young Barry or Barry stays the same.
How did you feel about the baby thing? This was a big contention with some people.
It wasn't a big deal. I mean, it was kind of funny.
It was funny.
It was funny that it cut to show like, oh, every baby's gonna die, all of them.
I loved it also because it had the woman nurse, the nurse or doctor. Yeah, I don't know.
The woman nurse.
The woman. Well, I think that's fine.
No, it doesn't matter.
Male nurses.
It was whatever.
But just seeing her stare, like they're all gonna die, her and the babies, but she's gonna die last in that scenario, and her just crying with extreme fear, like no.
They're like a bunch of knives about to hit a baby. It's like, what are the knives doing there?
Yeah, why are the scalpels in this room?
Why is there a microwave and knives and scalpels in the nursery?
There's also I guess an oxygen tank is
in the nursery.
Yeah, that was funny. And I loved it because it's like, look at all these babies about to die, and then Ezra Miller, the Flash, he's just like, I'm gonna go get the vending machine and eat the food first, and then I'll save them. But I love and hated, and I've seen people trashing about this also, how he moves fast. Like, the world kind of just moves around him, and it's more like a teleport. Like, he's basically teleporting in a way.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
That's always. I think that's pretty much how Flash speed works. Like, there's such a thing as speed where it feels like super strength. So you're pushing the ground and you're propelling yourself so hard that you're moving fast. And then there's super speed where it's just like you're running, sure, but really super speed is something else that happens around you as you run normally. Like, if most speedsters the other way, they're just super strong. But usually you don't want speedsters to be super strong for some reason. Instead, you just want to say they're somehow super fast without being any stronger than a regular person.
Yeah. And also, I just wish they could have, like, The Flash, the TV show, which I also want to compare this to, because it does everything in this movie better. On a TV show budget, by the way. So, whatever millions of dollars they spent on the movie was already done once.
Yeah, you know what? That's funny. If you were okay. I was going to say CGI. The CGI in Arrowverse has always been abysmal, but it's a show and nobody cares.
Yeah, and when it's good, like, they save their money for the Grodd. Like, every time there's a Grodd episode.
I mean, even then, it's not great.
It's not great, but it's good for TV.
There you go. Okay, sure.
Especially at that time.
Sometimes it's so bad that it has become famous for being bad.
Yeah.
But what I was thinking about really was the suit. I was like, okay, the suit is consistently better in the show than the movie.
Yes, and with the show, the worse the show gets, the better the suit gets. So
yeah. You could show me the suit from the Flash movie in real life, and I would still think I was looking at CGI.
I've seen, and yeah.
That's how bad it is. It's not bad CGI, it's bad reality.
Also, I think Ezra Miller's, or maybe just the way they have the suit put on on their body.
Weird.
Big head.
It's weird.
Big head, skinny neck.
It's such a weird, bad suit. What the heck were they thinking about the suit?
I guess trying to make the Flash look slim, aerodynamic, I guess, is what they're going for.
I mean, they failed.
They did.
The suit's clunky.
So yeah, the show did. I mean, every even the season 1.
Every show suit is better than the suit.
Yeah.
And the show has a range of quality suits.
Why couldn't they just grab one of Grant Gustin's old suits?
Because if they did, they would have accidentally pulled Grant Gustin in too, because he wouldn't take it off, and then they would have had Grant Gustin, what I want.
Also, it's so stupid how much money they would spend on those CG cameos when they could just gotten 2 Flash TV actors for probably a fraction of that price.
Listen. They made 2 Ezra Millers work. Okay, it wasn't terrible. It was good. They were able to do some good things with the character. But why couldn't it have been Ezra Miller meets Grant Gustin? What? Grant Gustin's the Flash in this universe?
They met already.
Everyone else has been exchanged. You can exchange Batman for Michael Keaton or George Clooney, but you can't do
the main character.
You can't have thinking Barry Allen, Ezra Miller show up and be like, Grant Gustin, you're the Flash in this universe? You were an actor in my universe?
Wow. Well, they met already in the show.
Grant Gustin and Ezra Miller meeting in the show was a cool thing to do. It was a thing of respect going both ways, and it begs the question that has always been there of like why Warner Brothers doesn't just try to do more fun things with crossover and cameo when they just can. Like, they can do whatever they want, and they just go, well, we don't really want to.
Yeah, it's funny. And continue to remind, it's like, they could have had Justice League in the 90s if they wanted.
Yep.
They could have had it in the 80s if they wanted. They could have had it any year before Marvel started their whole project. They could have had a Justice League movie. They didn't. They could have... Why? I'm still, like... They resurrected 2, maybe 3 dead people.
Yeah.
For the CGI end of The Flash. And they got a Nicolas Cage reference that a fraction of the audiences are going to understand, let alone appreciate.
Dang.
What else was there?
Nothing. Nick Cage, Superman, fighting a giant spider was like... So, alright, so Kevin Smith and I get to enjoy this joke?
Yeah, literally.
Me and Kevin Smith get to enjoy this joke? Why'd you put it in here?
And you know what's worse? The director said they got Nicolas Cage there. They had him there.
Why couldn't he have been I mean, like, I thought should I say Supergirl or Superwoman? I don't know.
Whichever.
I mean, she's just awesome.
Yeah.
She's just awesome.
Yeah.
But I don't want to ever say like, oh, don't put her in the movie. She's awesome. But why couldn't? But wouldn't like Nick Cage's Superman have been a wackier and insaner choice for the Superman role in the movie?
Oh.
If they showed up and like, we gotta say Clark Kent,
now,
and it's Nick Cage.
If it was Nick Cage and Michael Keaton teaming up.
Oh my god! And imagine Ezra Miller's like, that's Nick Cage.
Now,
that's Nick Cage.
That would be awesome.
Nick Cage is Superman in your universe?
Wait a minute. That would be...
Okay.
It's Nicolas
Cage. It crosses a line for any multiverse thing to point out an actor's existence. It crosses a line. But if you were gonna cross the line for anyone, it'd have been Nick Cage.
Especially for this it's a multiverse. It can be Nick Cage.
And it's the stupid Flash multiverse. It's not gonna matter in a few years.
Exactly. That's the problem. It's like they spent so long.
Oh my god.
They spent so long trying to, I guess, for their brains, make this movie perfect and make sense. Where they could have just thrown half of it in the trash and just went, let's just go nuts.
Yeah, 100%. This should have been your movie that was just fun, and it is fun, which is different from all the other DC movies except for Shazam. So they did in some part get that spirit, but yeah, they could have had even more fun with it. Oh my god, the idea of Ezra Miller going, that's Nicolas Cage. I would have loved to see that.
What, you're gonna tell me an actor is Superman?
Oh my god.
The actor? Superman?
If there's one actor you're going to acknowledge, no, that he's just an actor in real life, Nicolas Cage would have been it.
And just the idea of like all the CGI cameos look like, all the CGI in the movie period looks like garbage for like 99% of the movie.
Yeah.
They had Nicolas Cage there. They supposedly put him in that Superman suit, but then they CGI'd up his face anyway. It's like, why didn't you just get Nicolas Cage for a couple weeks? Let him do a fun fight scene with Batman, and just see Michael Keaton and Nicolas Cage have a scene together. That would have been awesome.
Yeah.
And then it's like Michael Keaton, Nicolas Cage, and Ezra Miller.
Yeah.
3 crazy people.
Yeah.
Just going crazy.
Okay. Thinking the CW shows, they've got their baggage, they've got their trashiness, they've got their cheapness in some places. But why people had so much respect for Arrowverse is because, for some reason, the people who weren't running the shows would do things that the people doing the movies just refused to do. They were like, oh, are we ever going to do a Green Arrow Flash? Are you kidding me? We're going to start with a Green Arrow Flash crossover. There's not going to be any question of it. Are we going to do Flashpoint? Obviously. Are we going to do Crisis? Yes, of course we're going to do it. Are we going to get Tom Welling Superman to show up? Yeah, why wouldn't we? Are we dumb? Are we dumb-dumbs?
Literally. But that's the thing. Warner Brothers they were so scared to do things, and then by the time they finally would do things, they would just be like, well, okay, well, CW, I know you were like the Arrow, they were going to do the Suicide Squad. And just as they were, like, they put in the work, they were leading up to the Suicide Squad, doing some pieces, they're like, alright, we're about to do Suicide Squad. Then Warner Bros. Was like, oh, we have a good idea, we're going to do Suicide Squad. Now, you can't use that anymore. And they just locked them up. And they literally killed them off screen in Arrow. Just because Warner Brothers was like, oh, but we want to use it now, my toy. No, you weren't using it earlier.
Yeah, see, the CW people, it's like, if whatever toys they have, they're going to play with them. They're going to do it. And Warner Brothers will sit there and be like, we don't want to until, I don't know, the wind blows a different way.
Yes.
and all of a sudden, well, maybe we should be doing something with all this property we have. Who knows?
Yeah, and, like, I love, like, the Arrowverse, basically, we're like, we have our Flash, Green Arrow's going to be our Batman, and Supergirl's going to be our Superman. And they made it work.
They just do it.
And it's like, wow, like, I remember seeing them on screen together.
Yeah.
And it's like, these are people.
I don't care how many flaws there are in the Flash, how trashy it can be, how bad it can get. When they crossed over Supergirl, Flash, and Green Arrow, it was the only time I cared about any Justice League in any capacity.
Exactly. Yep. Uh-huh.
Cause that's it. And it was like, man, why is it the people without the means have the interest, and the people with the means have no interest?
Exactly. And I just, like, there were so many moments they would do this, but it's like, they're all just standing around in their costumes with their masks off, talking about their plan. Like, a scene that happens in any movie ever. But just seeing it there, it's like, just them doing it, and whatever cheap way they were doing, it's like, there's no fear here. There's no fear here.
You know what? All their costumes are good. Green Arrow's costume is good.
Yes.
Supergirl's costume is great.
Yes.
Barry's is, variable but always good.
And people, like, they changed the Supergirl costume where at first she had the shirt to the pants. I think it looked better with the pants.
I think they're both good. They're both good.
But, like, I think it looked better.
Yeah.
What else?
Anyway, Michael Keaton's Batman. For a lot of people, that was the selling point of the movie.
Yeah.
For me, that was never a huge deal. I never cared that much, and I don't feel like Michael Keaton's got a huge role in the movie.
No.
Only really a bit, kind of.
They literally kind of play all of his scenes in the trailers.
Yeah, wow. And then I feel like
Supergirl had less to do.
The lines, you want to get nuts, let's get nuts, was just...
I feel bad because Dad was like, oh...
Yeah, and I said to you, comparing that to Norman Osborn in No Way Home saying, I'm something of a scientist myself. Now, I want to explain to you, okay?
Equally bad to me.
No. All right, here's why, okay? The original Batman, he's saying it to the Joker, right? And he's, A, posturing, B, trying to get Joker's attention to him, right? So that was the purpose of, you want to get nuts, let's get nuts, all right? And now here, it's just a callback because it means nothing in context. He's like, is that our plan? Yes. Well, if you want to get nuts, it's irrelevant.
Now I already know
entirely,
saying the
right? When Norman Osborn said, I'm something I was saying to myself to Tobey Maguire, he's meeting Peter, who apparently he doesn't see often, I guess. You get the impression, but he knows Peter's really good at science. He wishes his own son was. He's complimenting Peter. He's like, oh, I hear you're really good at science. And he's like, he's joking. He's being, jokey, being like, oh, I'm something to himself. Obviously, Peter knows he's Norman Osborn.
Right.
The CEO of Oscorp, probably.
And father of my best friend.
Yeah, he's like, obviously, I'm in science. I'm a big name in science. The joke is, right? Whereas, when you come into No Way Home, they are talking about science, okay? He is talking to Peter again.
With the tapping.
He is talking to Peter again, and he's like, he knows he's a scientist, but they don't. And so it's a little joke, like, I'm actually something of a scientist myself. It's the same purpose, technically, and the same effect.
Don't love it.
It's fine, though. And the nuts one isn't. The Let's Get Nuts isn't fine.
No, it's not that good. I did like the idea of he's a hermit. He has no Alfred. I like the way he tried to explain the multiverse thing.
I like the idea that if Batman's going to meet Time Traveler Universe Hopper, he's going to be like, okay, I'll engage with that on a intellectual level, sure.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Instead of being like, you from another universe. What?
So it's like, well, what better has he got to do? He's just sitting there eating spaghetti all the time.
Yeah, but it's just not like, oh, I'm so caught off guard. What could this mean? He's just like, I'll deal with what I'm given when I'm given it. Okay.
What else? I thought Supergirl was cool. There were some cool, like immigrant-y undertones they were touching with the Supergirl that I thought was kind of cool. Like, I also love my favorite part with Supergirl was when, like, she's basically sitting there dying in that cell or whatever, sun deprived, and then Barry saves her, and then she's like, why'd you save me even though I'm not the person you expected me to be? And he was like, because he needed help. It's like, oh, like, just good. It's like, and that bit of compassion is what gets Supergirl to be like, okay, I'll help you save.
Yeah, I mean, also her suit has a symbol on it that means hope. It's like, how far are you gonna go? How far are you gonna go away from where you're needed when you're wearing a symbol that says hope on it?
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, yeah, you're gonna come back.
Yeah, I like the. I don't know.
Supergirl, Batman, every character in the movie, the world in the movie, the antagonist, all become irrelevant by the end, though.
Yeah.
They all become completely irrelevant. I mean, like, any line they had, any interest, any motivation, any action they committed becomes entirely irrelevant by the end. And that is pretty unfortunate, and that's where the writing of the movie is the messiest.
Yeah. It's like they had a good hour and a half in the middle, but the beginning and the end are so clunky they don't know. They're just like, I don't know. Here. I don't know.
It's like, what does Supergirl want out of life? Doesn't matter anymore. She's ultra super 100 times dead.
Dead. It's so stupid. Like, literally, like,
Zod doesn't matter.
Zod never
The planet
mattered.
doesn't matter. Young Barry doesn't matter. The evil Young Barry monster thing doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's like, oh, also guess F. Barry's both his parents this time in the entire world.
See, what I'm saying, like, that Young Barry turned monster is supposed to sort of be the antagonist, I guess, maybe, but isn't really. The only antagonist really, I guess, is Destiny or Fate, but they don't, like, say that in a interesting or artistic way. They play the movie out straight as if it's person v person conflict when it's not. It's person v fate.
Yeah. I feel like I don't know. I mean, Zod wasn't supposed to be like a massive, like, obviously you're not supposed to be like, oh, because it's just Zod again.
Yeah, sure.
But they could have done something more to make it feel like, oh, this matters.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I don't know why this is what I thought of. There was recently, you keep hearing about a game called Dead by Daylight. Doesn't matter. What matters is there's a game that was like Dead by Daylight, but it was Dragon Ball Z themed. And so basically, you have to go around and do some task, and you're playing a regular person, and someone else is playing one of the main villains from Dragon Ball Z, so either Cell or Frieza or Majin Buu. And the idea is, you're a regular person. If they see you, you will cease to exist. So you have to be sneaky until you can do certain things, and then summon a hero who can actually fight them, right? So I feel like that, like, if you're gonna have the Flash end up in a situation where he's up against Zod, Zod is just supposed to be terrifying, and that's it. It's just like, oh no, I can't deal with that. I either avoid it or I die. And they were kind of like that. He was like, we either get Superman or we lose. That was it. And I was like, that's cool. I'm good with that being the conflict. That's cool. Like, you realize nobody else can deal with Zod. You have to get Superman involved or you're dead. That's cool.
But he does kill Kryptonian.
But then it becomes irrelevant. And also, he does kill Kryptonian. And I feel like you might be able to step up with Zod. Now it might have been cool to see you try.
Yeah, it would have been.
It would have been cool if it was like, if Supergirl's gonna die and Batman's gonna die, I'll have to take on Zod myself.
Also, you got Michael Shannon, who's really intimidating and cool. Zod, like, let him have a moment and be like...
Get that crud off his face. Get it away.
Yeah.
His face is scary. Get his face in there.
And it's like, he should be like, I will find him for the Flash.
Someone's running really fast. I will find
him.
Yeah, no, man, if Flash had to sing and throw down with Zod, that would have been pretty cool. That would have been worth having Zod around just for that. I want to see Flash have to fight somebody who, because they insist he's only super fast and not super strong, he would have trouble fighting. That'd be cool.
but he could phase and just put his
Yeah, see,
hand in
that's the
people's
thing.
hearts.
Really, Flash will never really make sense. Okay, that's fine. Because Flash really should be a god that nobody could touch. But,
yeah.
But, I mean, it is what it is. Like, that's the thing with every super speed character. It's like, you're either committing or you're not, and you're not.
But that's the thing. So another thing I'm trying to mention earlier, but we got on a tangent. I wish they would just have him run. Like, actually run on a treadmill and see them legs moving. Because the whole kind of, like, skip skiing, running... It was funny in that one scene when Barry loses his powers and he's trying to do that same skip skiing running, but he can't go fast.
Yeah, that is funny. They were like, Ezra, do the same thing we've been having you do for years. But
just do it.
But we're not gonna do anything in post. It's just gonna stay that. And it's just like, I'll do it.
He's flopping around with his
Arms going all over the
crazy.
place. That was great.
That was awesome.
In the one of the most standout episodes of the Flash show, where it's a nuke is going off and they stop time and they have to figure out how to solve it. I think it's really fun. It's a small detail. I think it's fun that the Flashes in that episode, they keep referring to what they're doing as running, even though we're not watching them run at all.
Yeah.
They are walking, standing still, and talking, and they go, "I'm getting tired. I can't keep running." Just referring to activating their speed power as running. I was like, that's cool.
That is cool. And they actually let Grant go, like, even though they'll probably reuse every running thing he's ever done, he ran on a treadmill, and they just put him in front of a green screen. Yeah. He's running. Just have him run.
That episode was so good.
That's one of the best episodes of the whole show.
Yeah.
And that's a later season episode.
That was an episode where it was like, writers, can we, I don't know, let's go to work.
I just want to explain it really quick. So essentially it's like there's a nuke about to go off in like this truck or something, and Barry, he doesn't stop time. He's running, and the whole episode takes place in 8 minutes, supposedly.
No. Well, I think it might have been less. It
might be in 1 minute.
I think the nuke already went off. That's when he started running.
No way.
Yeah, I think the nuke is that's what he can't disarm it because it has gone off. So
right.
Yeah. So
That's
and as the time goes on, you start to see the explosion come out. Like it's not about to go off. It had already gone off.
He has 8 minutes. He has like eight minutes before the impact hits the people.
Right.
Around.
It might have been like 8 seconds, like in real time. I don't know. He's going so fast that time has stopped. Like nobody is moving, and he has to use every tool at his disposal, which includes the people around him. He asks Cisco what to do because at this point in the show, he had established a power that he can touch someone and vibrate them so that they're in the Speed Force.
Yeah.
So but he explains, and they explain it when they introduce the power, that it's extremely exhaustive for him to do that. So he's like, if I keep doing that to keep you involved, and I run out of steam, we die. So I have to pick and choose when I bring someone into the Speed Force to ask them what to do. So he's like, only a couple of times he brings a few people in,
and even then they can't be in that state for long because
it's like this is the most exhaustive thing that any of the Flashes can do, and it's like, so you have a time limit here. Figure out how to stop a nuke that's already gone off.
Tell me what I need to do before we all die.
And they established Barry as being, I guess, the fastest or like maybe the most endurance Flash, because the other ones, they just stop. That was so cool. When they get too tired, Jessie Quick, she gets too tired, she just stops. Because now she is moving at regular speed.
Yeah.
And then the same thing with Jay Garrick. It's like when they get too tired, he just stops. They stop running.
Like, that episode is one of those, like, it's so creative and cheap. Like,
oh my god, it's so cheap. It costs you nothing to do that. It was like, listen, every actor, we got everybody in the day. You're all standing still for this episode. And it's going to be the best episode.
Now, they could have done something like that for a Flash movie where, like, the last 30 minutes is something like that and save boko bucks of money. Like, they could have taken at least half the budget and put it back in the bag.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to acknowledge how cheap that is.
Yeah, see, I always want to keep acknowledging, thinking, Flash show is a little trashy. It's very trashy.
There's a lot of trashy,
very trashy.
Epic moments too.
It can be very bad, but it's the only time anyone who's cared about the Flash has written for the Flash.
Yes,
it's the only time anybody who cares about the Justice League has made a Justice League thing happen. It was
also,
an Arrowverse.
Like the first season of the Flash, I think is a perfect season. Like there are still filler episodes, case per week episodes.
Yeah, it's case per week,
but
formula show.
It has the energy of a fresh new show.
It does have energy in it.
Yeah. And you do feel the energy in some of the later seasons start to wane, but anytime there is a little juice in there, you can you can tell when everybody's like, we're excited about this.
Yeah, also, and maybe this is an age thing and an era thing. I feel like if you can, pick your nose up at the CW shows and be like, this is very trashy, it's like, good. You've been spoiled good. Because we have such decent superhero content now. We have the MCU now. Whereas if we had gotten the Flash CW in the past, like
It would have won awards.
at the time of Smallville, it would have been a culture-defining experience.
Yeah, people would have been like, yeah, but don't you remember it would have been like...
Yeah, Smallville was pretty trashy.
Smallville was that, though.
It was case per week. It was a little trashy, but it is highly positively remembered. I mean, it was at a time you weren't going to get that from anyone else.
And Smallville's the reason why all those CW shows even exist.
And Smallville's the perfect like little encapsulation of Warner Brothers isn't going to do it, but they also don't really want to let you do it because they're not going to let you put Tom Welling in a Superman suit.
It's really just showing your writers juggle and try to be like, how can we say Superman without saying Superman for 10 years? The fact that he never once
My God.
puts on a suit.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
The only people who want to do a Superman thing are the people who aren't allowed to. The only people who want to do a good Flash thing are the people who aren't going to be allowed to do a movie. They're only going to do a CW show.
And hopefully that changes. Hopefully with the new regime and all this, things like this will start to make sense. But I don't know. You kind of make me want to just start the CW shows.
I mean, I think they're just trashy enough for me to be like, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, I know. But I do kind of want to watch that one episode.
This is why Kevin Feige was been so important. Because it was like, what if somebody who was a fan of both the content and the medium was in charge?
But also, he's probably one of the only people in the position to get to that point. Like, he started as, like, an assistant producer, like, like a low-tier person on Spider-Man. And then he got up to the point where it's like, all right, but what if we did this? And then he got some people behind him. It took him a long time to get there. And, one could argue James Gunn has done a similar thing in a way. Like, he's climbed through the ranks to get to a position to where he can make these big types of decisions. So, we just gotta wait and see if all that will start to fall in line.
See, the Flash movie would have been a great time to Grant Gustin, Tom Welling, anything and everything for sure. And it's like only just now could they be bothered or persuaded to do Michael Keaton, George Clooney, and Nick Cage. Like only now could the 50-year-olds amongst them be convinced to dabble in some cool cameo.
They honestly should have just done, when they were officially are deciding to nuke everything, they should have done a Crisis on Infinite. Like, just do it.
100%.
And then you can either A, decide to keep some elements, or B, nuke it all. Nuke the CW.
Yeah.
Nuke these movies. Get Grant Gustin, get those kids in here. Get the Snyderverse people in. Have them all, like, Infinity War, Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Yeah. And I mean, I do want to say, I don't 100% blame, if it's, that could be difficult planning-wise. And James Gunn probably has a lot on his plate already. So, ideally, if you could have done some cool Crisis thing that led to your new universe, would have been great. If you can't, because it's a lot of work. I mean, obviously,
a lot of work, and also we have a handful of movies that we're done with, but we don't really want to play out, but we gotta just get out there somehow and make a little money off of. Hardly any, though, apparently. Like, actually none. They've made zero. The Flash made its production budget back. There's not a goddamn chance on this planet it's going to make its marketing budget back. Shazam made no money, basically, period. And Aquaman, I do not... for all the things that they've been selling off to other streaming services or other studios or just straight up deleting to save money on, why are these... I love Shazam. I kind of want to keep Shazam. But the Flash and Aquaman, I don't know how... You can get rid of, a Batgirl, because Batgirl was supposed to be a thing, and then they canceled it. How can you have that finish and cancel it and save money, but not do the same thing with these two?